Good evening, people. Good evening. It's your boy Gumsa. We're back for another episode of the breakdown. Arsenal won, Brighton won. It's not all doom and gloom, but there's definitely some more we can pick apart in this game. So we're going to get straight into it. Yes, people, good evening. Hope everyone's well. Started the international break, but we couldn't go and sign off without the breakdown show. So I'm joined today by my good friend, Mr. Gunner King. What we saying, bro?
What's going on, man? You good?
Yeah, I can't complain. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. So obviously we was on the stream together at the on match reaction from Arsenal 1, Brighton 1. I think both of us were kind of in the same boat, weren't we? We weren't too disheartened by it. We definitely took a lot of positives out. Yes, before the game, you think after a great win against Tottenham, we probably ought to get 3 points against Brighton. But on reflection, it was a difficult game for us. And what I liked about mine, your review, is none of us were too disheartened. We actually said, you know, it's a point gained. And that point might be vital towards the end of the season where you might looking at top six and, do you know what I mean, there's a point or two in it. This point could go a long way to actually seeing us some European football next year. So, first, what's your thoughts on the game? Obviously, you had a couple of days to look back on it, seen other results. What's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it wasn't one of our better performances, especially when it came to creating chances, playing out of the press. The balls that we were playing that were going forward, which we're going to talk about in a bit, weren't necessarily the right ones given the opposition we were facing. And on that front, I'd expect improvements for our next games against Palace and Villa, because we'll need it for those two teams. We've got more of a cutting edge, and if we can see that many chances against those two teams, I think it'll be a lot harder to keep a clean sheet. So
definitely. So my thing is, do you think it was? Sorry, I've got a couple of comments in there. Armoury TV saying smash the likes and subscribe. Please do, people. Make sure you keep smashing likes, subscribing, sharing as well. We've got no WhatsApp, you've got no Instagram today, so you might as well get your friends to tune into this show because it's the best thing on the internet right now. Mr. Silver Fox screaming out the name. Yes, it's good evening, Silver Fox, and KRB's turn up. Yo, what you saying, bro? Hope everything's cool. Hope you're having a good Monday. Hope the weather's better where you are than it is where I am. It's horrendous. So, but we're going to get into it. Again, I echo what you said. We didn't play our best game, and if we give up that many chances to a better team, we might not a better team, but a team with maybe a bit more of a better strike. I do like Morpay, but he's not the most clinical. And that was Brighton's downfall last year. They just didn't score enough, and I think that's going to be their Achilles heel. But do you think it was down to Arsenal playing badly or Brighton really playing really well?
I think it was a bit of both. Like 6 and 1, a dozen of the other. I think, Brighton were organised, that they were in good shape. The shape that they were in with the back three, with Cucurella playing as that left kind of wing back. He had a lot of space out there. Yeah. And I think he probably was the deserved man of the match.
Yeah.
And I think what the main takeaway that I would have, as I said, it was similar against Chelsea, where Reece James actually got a goal.
Yeah.
From having that space, that is naturally created by facing, sort of a back three with higher position wing backs.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe in those games we should consider matching up the shape a little more.
I would agree with you because I think this is becoming a bit of an Achilles heel. Playing against the back three. Again, Chelsea had it, Brentford had it, and now you're seeing Brighton had it. I mean, Brentford they might play it
as well, did they?
Yeah. So I say Brentford, Chelsea, and Brighton. And again, they play with a different variation. Chelsea's 5 at the back. To be fair, the 5 at the back's quite similar. It's what's in front. Chelsea play with almost a 2 and a 3. Brentford play with a 3 and a 2, and Brighton, I don't know what they play because they have players everywhere. But yeah, so the higher end it varies, but the 5 at the back is something about that system. Is causing Arsenal some problems, and I think Arteta does need to address it. And I think you're right. Maybe we just match up against those teams and see how we fare. Because by playing with the 4 at the back against the 5, we seem to be struggling a little bit.
I mean, you could always put Saka on the right hand side.
I think we've got many options. Maitland-Niles can come in, Tavares can come in. So you can always play Tomiyasu as the third centre back or Tierney as the third centre back, depending which way you want it to go. Saka's another one you could play at the wing back position. Obviously we don't want to see Cedric. There's no disrespect to him, but obviously we have got options to do that. So it's not. And again, Tierney and Tomiyasu were both equally fitting comfortably into that 3 as well. So definitely options for it. I think it's now we've done it 3 times against 3 at the back, and actually maybe it is time we change. Again, one thing I noticed, and I think Ramsdale noticed it as well, because me and him were on the same wavelength. I'm going to play his interview from after the game.
The pressing game is top, to be honest. They go man to man, and then even when you try and go long, the 3 big lads at the back, it's so hard. It has to be an accurate ball, either over the top, and obviously the wind was picking up today, so it was quite hard to reach over the top. And then it's got to be an inch perfect ball to someone's feet. So the way they press is top intensity. So they stifled us, but we need to try and find ways to get out of that. And that's what we'll continue to work on the training pitch, and hopefully we'll overcome this. And next time a game like this comes around, we'll get the win.
In terms of your performance, particularly off the back of last week, what do you feel perhaps was lacking, was missing tonight?
Of mine?
No, of the team. Of the team.
I think it was just a difficult game. I think Brighton made it really, really hard for us. I've got to give credit to them. They didn't make it easy. As I said, the pressing was top. But like I said, there's got to be ways we've got to get around that. And last week, obviously, the game was so high tense and emotional. And this week, I don't think we took the foot off the gas. I just don't think we were as good, and we underperformed. But a point is a point.
So we heard Ramsdale's words on it, and ours echoed it after the reaction. I definitely was speaking about how they pressed us and how we struggled to get out. And Ramsdale, to me, hit the nail on the head. They went man for man up there. They paid us no respect. And they got the big boys at the back. And we will touch on those 3 at the back a bit later as well. But with regards to what Ramsdale said, obviously, you know me, I'm going to go back and watch the game again. So went straight for, right, kind of sometimes fast forward, flick through the game at stages, but I thought, let me have a look when we've got the ball from the goal kicks and stuff. So first picture we have here, Ramsdale's got the ball in his hand and he's jostling up and down trying to find someone to pass to. Again, doesn't know where to place that ball. Another slide. We just keep moving through it. It goes into Gabriel. Now Gabriel's got no chance, so he just humps a long one, hoping we can hold something. Abba loses the header. No fault of his. They win the second ball. And now they've got it down in good possession. You can see how quick they're out of back line straight away. What's your thoughts on it, really? It's just a difficult situation to be in and get out of?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, in normal
slide. Sorry, we go from the first slide from here.
In normal circumstances, like from the start here, you want people showing for the ball. So, like, whether it's the fullbacks, like signaling, like calling for the ball, pointing where they want it, like just any kind of signal, to kind of show for the ball, as it were. You're not really seeing it there. So he's gone to Gabriel, who's quite deep. I mean, his starting position's like almost behind Ramsdale's.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what they were saying about the press from there, straight onto Gabriel's first touch, forced him, sort of into a bit of a negative space. And the long balls forward are not really going to work with the back 3 that Brighton have.
Yeah, I do agree. And
they're adept at winning headers. Like Aubameyang wouldn't want that sort of service in normal circumstances. So,
it's very similar to what we did to Tottenham, wasn't it? Where we forced them to kick long and we just cleaned up. So yeah, we move on to another one because again, there's images of this galore, but I only picked out a couple. So I've gone with one from the floor, and again, they've pressed us nice and high. It looked very similar to the first one with the players around the box. It's gone up again, so we are quite open with this one. So we've gone long ball. They've brought the header down, won the second with a flip through. This is where Brighton are good. They're very good in possession.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about them sort of being just, like a physical team. They're not.
Nah, they're very good in possession.
Brian Potter has got them playing football as well.
Yeah.
Controlling possession and like probing, getting balls into the box as well to Mope. I mean, they're a clinical striker away from being, a team that could sustain a charge for a European spot, in my opinion.
Definitely. And yeah, so I was just running through, as you was talking, I was just running through the images, and that resulted in Brighton getting a header on the edge of the 6-yard box. Again, because they press high up, when they win the ball, they're naturally in your own half. And they can then start their attack from there. And as I said, they're all very comfortable on the ball. And
what I will say is who went up for that header with him won it though. It got a flick on.
Yeah. So again, we defended well, but it's just those little things. Watching the first half, we just kept giving them possession. And I've got one more of this, and we're going to talk about these things a little bit more. So you can see, so our goal kick, Ramsdale straight away signaling in, and this is 20 minutes into the game, by the way. He's signaling, he's shouting, he's now saying, "Come closer to me." He's saying, "Come on, please, give me something." In the end,
the keeper shouldn't be doing that, man.
In the end,
not a good signal.
Yeah, like look at that.
If someone's taking a throw in or a kick, you shouldn't be making people have to do that. And that's what I'm saying. You got to be vocal, putting your hands up. Like asking for the ball.
And we set up how we set up. You see Tomiyasu's there, but
Cucurella
wouldn't be far from him. So he ends up trying to hit Tierney. And the ball just went out of play. And you can see by Ramsdale's reaction here at the end of it, he is not happy because he's got nothing to play with. Do you know what I mean? Brighton definitely set the traps. And this is where, again, for me, it's playing to your strengths. I'm going to pull up this still because I like this. Brighton are able to press really high because they know the 3 men at the back, if you go long, I've got 2 players who are 6'4" and one who's 6'7".
Jesus. I don't even know what they were thinking, like playing balls in the air. Especially if there was a half where the wind was blowing towards you as well.
Yeah.
Make it more, in either direction, but that's particularly harder.
So
want to play balls into a prevailing wind. So
and when you got them giants at the back, what can you really do on it? So I think a lot of credit has to go to Brighton. Graham Potter's got them set up in a way where they almost force you to do that, because there was a few times we did try and play out from the back and we got caught. I mean, the Tomiyasu got caught on the ball once. Partey got caught on the ball. So
they were pressing very high. Like Mope and Trissard were closing down everything.
Oh, massively, and again, if you can see by the first image, let's get it up again, because it does. Again, this is only about half an hour into the game. This image is from. But this happened from the start. So the first couple of times we tried to play out through the press, and as I said, Tomiyasu lost it 2 or 3 times. Partey got robbed once or twice.
But you see how they stood split there, either side of the D. That's like to stay like a lot closer to the passing lanes as well, so that they can do that. To basically cut off like the usual short ball to the guys inside the box.
It's almost saying,
So that's what forces the ball long.
Yeah, but and what they're doing, they also will kill it.
It's a very thought out kind of plan.
And they'll also be killing the passing lane to a midfielder, because again, Smith Rowe or Odegaard could easily drop in the pocket between Tomiyasu and the guy with his hand pointed, or those two. But where the 2 strikers are, that cuts that line out as well. So you can't even force a ball into that area.
That's it.
And again, it's almost saying to them, go to your centre backs, because we're just going to squeeze you. And as you can see,
or go to your striker.
Yeah, but that's
And then
bread
those
and butter
guys
for
in
me.
the air are going to basically win everything.
Yeah, that's bread and butter. So it's the way their team is built. It allows them to go and press. And me and you spoke about this at length about Arsenal not being able to press high. And Brighton's a perfect example of if you get the back line right, it makes it easy for us. Because not saying any of these guys are amazing at pressing, but they're allowed to go and press because at the back, if anything you got put up there, my three at the back are going to absolutely swamp you. So it allows the rest of the team to play up the pitch. They camped in our half the whole game.
Yeah.
And I think this is part and parcel of getting your squad how you want it. I like our back five, but you can see how we press compared to how they press is different. Do you know what I mean? They're allowed
I
that
really
freedom.
think we should match up against people that play free at the back.
Definitely. From this position, what would you want to see? What do you reckon? I know obviously going free at the back doesn't help you in this situation. I think even if we went with free, Brighton would have pressed with an extra man.
I think look, so the guys that have the most space there are Tomiyasu and who's that on the left?
Sambi Lokonga.
Sambi, yeah. You know, I'd want them to split and like ask for the ball. I mean, you can, it's an easy throw over Trossard's head. I think that is on the left hand side, and the same applies for Sambi and Mope. So just showing for the ball that way, because what it would do is it would also pull those guys. It would split them, and then that's when the midfielder can drop into the central space and show for it as well. So it's like movements off the ball to even help another player get onto the ball in a lot more space so that they can play it out from the press. So something like that, but you're not seeing it there. For me, you end up going long.
Yeah, and for me, a bit more rotation. I'm going to move on to this pitch because from here, I'll happily go into Gabriel because obviously you can see the strikers going to close Ramsdale more. The other, is it Trossard, I think, the number 11, he's dealing with Ben White, so we can't go out there. So it's all I'm saying, we go into Gabriel. Here, it's now, this is the problem, isn't it? And it's, an extra man needs to come and we need to try and wrap it into him.
I mean, he's got Sambi out there on the left next to him.
But the hard thing is when you go to Sambi is where does then Sambi go? And I think this is half the issue, isn't it? And to be fair to Gabriel, he took responsibility for not putting him under pressure.
Like Sambi to be able to beat that press, man. Because that's what he's good at.
Yeah, and this is the problem. You can see where they are. Look, there's players everywhere.
You're better off him risking beating that press than trying to get a long ball into Aubameyang with these three centre backs.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I think a bit more rotation would definitely help. And these are the things. So I think what we've got to learn from is a lot of teams are now going to say, "Oh, we've seen Brighton do it. That's the way to press Arsenal." And you're probably going to see a lot more teams now pressing Arsenal in that manner. And it's how do we deal with that? So, it's definitely food for thought. So there's a couple of comments here. So you can follow Gumsa and Gunner King on Twitter. Links are in the description. You're damn right, get at us. We're here for it. And we're going to be doing a lot more Twitter spaces, aren't we, going forward? So, guys, we definitely want all you guys to tune in, log in, come and join on some of the chats as well. We're definitely here for it. The Armoury TV said England's number one. Yeah, I reckon Ramsdale might have that position by the next tournament. He's looked a player.
I think it'll take a bit longer, but he's definitely going to go to the tournament.
Yeah, and Riz Rand said,
I still think they're going to get another international tournament out of Pickford.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you might be right. And Riz Rand, I take it he knows you. He said, "Nice hat, Chris." He's called you by your first name, so I take it he knows you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good evening. Cheers for tuning in, brother. So just got one more slide. We're going to do a real quick one today. Again, I do think Brighton just nullified us. They really did. And again, these are things for Arsenal to look at going forward and improve on. But I found this interesting. So this is Brighton. So I've only got one picture of it, and then I've got another one where I can see the difference. So Brighton had a goal kick, and they weren't bothered about going long. And Brighton are a very good foot-winning team, but their setup allows them. So I'm going to put this one up. So everything's compressed. Arsenal are in a good position, but there's two things that I noticed on that image, and this is where Arsenal could learn from there. Do you want to have a guess what they are, Gunnar? It's quite hard because it's quite small for us.
On the left-hand channel, there's like quite a bunch, all like kind of I think too close together.
Yeah, I get why we're there because Brentford are just they've it's their goal kick and they've gone that way, so we have to put bodies in and around and we get out the other end because everyone's compressed on that side. The main thing for me, the big difference is you can see the picture. I put 2 red lines on. It's highlighting 2 players. Cucurella's dropped into the left centre back position, and I don't know which one of the 3 it is. It's the 6'7". Is that hold on, what's his name? He's the big one. Dan Burn. He's gone and they've kicked into him. You're not out jumping him first of all. It's Bukayo Saka. But even if it's Tomiyasu there or Partey, it's Saka. Yeah. So you could win the first header. And my issue is we've got a guy who plays wing back who's very good in the air in Tomiyasu. Not saying he would have got much joy out of Brighton, but we targeted Tierney a lot. And actually maybe we need to target Tomiyasu if we're kicking long. So we could do exactly the same here. Push Tomiyasu on and target him because again, if he's playing against, for instance, you're playing Man United, he's playing against Luke Shaw if he's going up for that header. I'm expecting him to get the better of that. And most wing backs aren't physically as strong and as big as Tomiyasu. So that to me is definitely a way of bypassing some of the problems we faced against Brighton is actually targeting the area, putting Tomiyasu higher at the pitch. If it's Saka or Pepe out there, they might have to cover around. And actually targeting him and trying to win the flick-ons and win the second balls off him because it brings you up the pitch. And I thought that was interesting. Again, I didn't have long to put show together, but I looked at it and thought, what did Brighton do when they play out? And it was just that. It was just targeting him. And he's going to win 90%, 95% of his headers if the kick's right. Whereas what we did, do you remember the still from earlier? It would be this one. Again, we targeted Tierney and look at the distances between our players as well. So if we lose the header, imagine that now drops to, just say it's Trossard, who's away from Lokonga. They're straight at us, so you can't even win the second ball back. Whereas Brighton, if Brighton lose that first ball, there's enough bodies to try and recover the second, or even Arsenal win possession, they're straight pressing at you again anyway. Because just say that ball now drops to Lokonga, there's 2 or 3 bodies in and around him. Do you know what I mean? Ben White can't bring that down with time and space. Whereas we flip to Brighton's, if that goes to certain areas, that's now comfortable for them to bring the ball down and play. And I think these are some of the things maybe we can learn from some of these lower, not saying lower leaguers in Brighton are lower than us, but you know what I mean? They're not as attractive as a name as Arsenal or Man City, but they've got know-how. And it's no surprise they're beating big teams. Do you know what I mean? And the position Arsenal in now, maybe we do need to look at a plan B. And it's what this show is about. We know we want to play out from the back. Ramsdale has shown he will kick long if there's nothing to play with. But actually, does Arteta need to give them more of a plan B? Because Brighton can play out from the back.
Well, I think
Brighton have a plan B when they need to go long. They switch the left back and the left wing back, and they kick into him and they play off that. So
I think this is why he was looking at someone like Neves or Locatelli as well, someone that could come into those deeper pockets and like get the ball.
But that's still our plan. That's still our plan A. I think. I still think that's our plan A. They might be more comfortable receiving that ball under that pressure.
Yeah, and distributing it as well. Do you know what I mean?
But to me, that's still your plan A, though, isn't it? That's still playing out from the back, which we know Arsenal want to do. And Brighton play out from the back, but in that case, when Arsenal pressed them, they said, "All right, we'll go long." But they had the personnel and they had the know-how how to do that.
Yeah, Lokonga's game's more all round. I'm talking like, you know, like more of like Neves and Locatelli's profile, you know, like gear them more towards being that kind of playmaker.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
That can basically take the pressure off your defenders by just being better at dropping into that half space and then just playing the ball forward.
Yeah, I do agree. But again, this is for me is the plan A and plan B. If plan A is not working,
Partey's obviously very good at that. But again, you know, like you're expecting Partey to win the ball as well when you lose possession. Like, you know, like these Jorginhos, like these kinds of guys, they're different, you know. Yeah,
no, 100%. But I still think that is your plan A, isn't it? Arsenal's plan A is to play out from the back. Brighton's plan A is to play out from the back. But when that's, again, you can see it, the images, playing out from the back, it's not going to be easy in that situation. So what's your plan B? And I think this is where Arsenal came unstuck. Yesterday, there was no plan B, or Saturday, sorry, there was no plan B. Whereas Brighton had their plan B. If we can't play out from the back because Arsenal pressed us, go at the pitch and I hit my 6'7" guy and we'll play out from there. And then we go back to our normal philosophy. once we got possession, we go back to our normal philosophy and we're playing.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I know. We should, regardless, 100% be looking at guys that have got a bit of height that are able to win those battles. I really like the look of Ivan Toney at Brentford.
Yeah. I think something like that would make such a difference to Arsenal because it gives you something to build off. There's no surprise why France are more successful when Giroud plays than any other striker, really. I know Benzema only had really one tournament, but it looks different when Giroud plays for France because his job is just to be a battering ram and bring the others into play. And you've got all that great quality there. It just, do you know what I mean? It frightens you. Do you know what I mean? When you're playing against something like that. And it changes how you press as well, I think. Do you know what I mean? If you know he's going to win 90% of the ball, you're now going to sacrifice a midfielder to say sit on his toes so they can't get into him, which now gives you an overload as like if we've got possession, they're one midfielder short because he's worrying about Lukaku or Giroud. Now we can actually play because we've now got an overload. Whereas, yeah, Brighton didn't have that worry about us. They weren't fearful. Do you know what I mean? And again, sometimes you watch it with Man City when they're trying to play. The striker would drop in, a midfielder makes a lung busting run in behind, and that clip ball might be able to beat the back line, and a runner gets in there. Whereas Arsenal don't seem to send runners out there. You know, Ramsey would do that, or Willock would make that run behind the striker. Do you know what I mean? And it's just these little things where we may need to explore it a little bit because, as I said, teams will look at what Brighton done to us, and we'll say, okay, so this is the way to stop them from playing, and we need to be ready for that going forward. So yeah, we haven't got much longer to talk about in here today, to be fair. Said, yes, it's not about picking all the negatives out, but actually it's just a few things that we noticed, isn't it? And we spoke about on the pod the other day. But going forward, I think this week we've got Gunslingers Wednesday this week, isn't it?
Yeah. Wednesday this week.
And I think we're going to be talking about what Arsenal need next. So I think it will tie in quite nicely to this, actually. So guys, make sure you tune into that because I think we're all going to have a say on what profile or maybe what profile of player Arsenal need next to kind of, do you know what I mean, take them to the next level and give them that plan B. Obviously, I know you spoke about Ruben Neves, who someone like that or Locatelli would be ideal for Arsenal. I think in games like this where we need to try and break teams down. And I'm sure everyone's going to have a different opinion.
Incisive from those deeper pockets, you know, like to help you kind of play on the front foot from when you're being pressed, playing out of it, you know, and then exposing the gaps that the tight pressers created, you know. So I think, you know, that's something that we can maybe look at. I think if you want to be able to play a game where you can go long, we haven't got the right profile of striker to be able to do that. You know, Lacazette can time his jumps well to win headers, but he's not tall. And and yeah, obviously Aubameyang is just not a great strength in his game either. Yeah. So changing the profile there would help as well.
But I think also this is where you utilize your squad, isn't it? You watch what Brighton did. They used Dan Burn, and he became their left winger on their goal kick because he's the biggest man. If we hit him, it's very hard for teams to get around it or win the header against him. So it's how do we utilize that? Do you know what I mean? So if a striker in the window is not an option, we need to find another way because I can see teams are really going to use this. Again, we're just fans and we're spotting issues. You've identified we've played the back five 3 times and struggled each time. So do you think these guys with analysis galore and a team, do you know what I mean, of people behind the scenes who'll be looking at these things won't picture and pick it up and say, actually, these guys are really struggling from that. So yeah, I think it's something we need to look at. And hopefully, Arteta gets it right. But yeah, it's been at least it's been a good month. So I don't want to grumble too much. It's been a good September, start of October. So
guys, Gunslingers is actually on Thursday, not Wednesday as well.
Apologies. Catch us on Wednesday. Is it going to King quarterback this week?
Potentially, yeah.
Looking forward to that. Do you want to plug your show? Go on, tell us what you're going to be doing this time on Gunner King's Court.
I'm going to be catching up, hopefully, with a special guest, just talking about a summary of our games in September.
Yeah.
And then what they think our prospects are going into the season after the international break.
Decent.
Yeah.
Decent. What's your long-term plan for Gunner King Cooks? I heard a little sneak peek, and I like the sound of it, to be honest.
I probably want to make it like a preview show, but one that's reserved for rival fans. So, whoever we're lining up against, like finding a fan from their fan base, and then just talking about our teams that way.
Decent. So yeah, that's going to be a good show, to be fair. Because if I know you like to give smoke.
Yeah, it's not going to be all that. It's going to be like, I will be, just talking in general.
Yeah.
Giving the insight of both of our teams.
Decent. No, that sounds sick. I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, guys, make sure you keep tuning into everyone's show. Make sure you follow the Twitter handles. There's so much more to come from the Armoury TV. We're going to keep breaking it down on Mondays. We're going to keep slinging the guns on Thursday. Gunner King's going to court on Wednesday. And there might be some more surprise shows as well. Obviously, we've got the previews and reactions and the rest of it. So, guys, make sure you keep and Twitter space. Let's make sure everyone jump onto the Twitter spaces.
We're going to be jumping on once a week now as well.
Yeah.
So watch out for the update on our Twitter feeds of when the weekly slot will be.
Decent. Right, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you there. It's a pleasure to have you. Couple of weeks off. Definitely going to enjoy this international break more than the last one. I don't think we're the banter club this international break. So thank you, Arteta and the boys. We're going to see you guys in a few weeks for the breakdown, but I'm sure there's going to be lots of content coming from Armoury TV over the next 2 weeks. And hopefully we get to see Ramsdale, do you know what I mean, play a game, and Saka's in the squad. So yeah, hopefully he does what he does anyway. Do you know what I mean? We know what it is with him. So yeah, looking forward to it. Last words, Gunner King?
No, man. Thanks for having me on. It's
no problem. Always a pleasure.
Great show. And guys, just watch this space. We got a lot more content coming.
Decent. All right, guys. Love. Let me give you my music on the way out anyway. This puts me in a nice soulful mood before I get the glass of wine out for the evening. So yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in again. It's always a pleasure having you, and we'll see you soon.